So the sun's just come up, so I've just turned the camera on. We've been here for about an hour already, but we were digging in the dark because low water is at 7 in the morning today, and this time of year the sun doesn't rise till about now, which is approximately 8:30 in the morning. So I've just put the camera on. You can see we've already got a canny trench. So when we first started digging for lug worm, we were doing it completely wrong. We were just basically sticking the fork in as much as we could and lifting out as much as we could. But one of the lads very nicely showed us the right way to do it, so I thought I would share that with you. So what you want to do is you want to clear the top 4 to 6 inches of sand, because the worms just aren't there, and they're not. They never are. So it's always a good idea to get that out your way and just ignore it. So that's what I'm just doing here. It's pointless even looking in the pile that I'm getting rid of now. We've been having quite a big problem as well with the holes filling up with water. So you'll see we've dug a bit of a hole so the water sits in it rather than gets in our way. Right, so my husband's going to take over now and he's going to do the heavy bit. He's going to stick the fork in as deep as he can, and this is the part of the sand that we're going to start looking through. Just keep checking it. It's always a good idea, I think, in any way, to go digging in pairs, because it can be really back-breaking work. So you can take turns, one acts as a spotter, and you tend to find more worms that way. You miss less. Getting a few already. So you can see they're quite deep. Trying to pile the sand up as well to stop the water running back into the hole. Birds are following us around the beach, picking up what we miss. When picking a lug worm up, always try and grab them by the body. If you grab them by the tail will just snap off. So always make sure that if they're in a hole, that you either dig them out or you grab them by the body to pull them. And when you do grab a hold of one to pull it out, make sure that you squeeze it a little bit and just pull really slowly, just to avoid damaging the worm. So just about to the back of where I removed the top 6 inches or so now, and then we'll just start the whole process over again. One just fell off the fork. And just start the process again, just start clearing the top 4 to 6 inches out the way so you can get further down with the next dig. I'm just looking at the beach to see where the casts are, to see which direction to take the hole, take the trench. Trying to block the water. And when you start running out of worms, just move to the next hole. So we're going to show you how we start the hole off. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make a ditch, so that when you start digging, it's easy to remove the sand. And you want to start in front of the casts and work back over them. I found that tends to be the most productive way to do it. So just digging a nice big hole, and once it's big enough that you can actually get the sand out of the trench, then you start the same again, just removing the top 4 to 6 inches of sand, which is we'll call waste sand. Always remember as well to keep an eye on the tide, because we've been digging before and we've just been so concentrated on what we're doing that we turned around 2 seconds later and the water's pouring into the hole. The tide had caught right up to her, so always be aware of what's happening. Having a bit OCD and squaring the hole off. I was just making a hole for the water to run into, so it doesn't get in my way. It can make it really difficult to lift the sand out when there's too much water there. It can also gut the worm as well because of the suction. Found a worm, too small, put them back. Don't take any worm that are too small or too skinny. Let them mature, and it benefits everybody. Another one, too small. He'll either go back into the sand or the birds will get him, one of the two. Hopefully it goes back into the sand to grow big and fat. And start going deep again, trying to find the worm. You don't always hit it right. Some holes are better than others, but you've just got to keep persistent. What we usually do is we don't even usually try and go looking for a particular type of cast or size cast or anything like that. We just have a look on the beach, see where there's a lot of casts in one area, and that's where we start digging. But I will put some pictures up at the end of the video showing you the different kind of casts for the different kind of lug. The main ones we get on this beach are glow lug and yellowtails. When you finish digging, go get yourself some seawater. Don't get the water from an area that is next to a river, because there'll be quite a bit of fresh water in it and it'll tend to be dirty as well. So get it from nice clean fresh seawater. You'll need that to help keep the worms alive until you go fishing. Now we'll just head home and we'll sort the worms out. Right, so all I've got here is a kitty litter tray, just out the pound shop. I'll just show you this is a white rag we found while we were digging. It's quite a canny one. Best one we've ever come across in anyway. They're not normally like that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sort through the worm. I'm going to take as much sand and debris off them as possible and pop them in the tray. scraping the sand off them dead gently. So I don't want to pop these. Lug aren't like blacks. You can't keep them once they've burst, so I'm just sorting through them, making sure there's no popped ones or anything like that, because if there is, they're just no good with this kind of lugworm. And there was only a handful, so hubby's just put some water in the tray there. You want a good half an inch. Don't be frightened to put plenty of water in. And that's it. Just one last thing to do now. And that's pop them in the fridge. And this is where bait fridge. That's all it's used for. Pop them in there. And if you just change the water every day until you're going to use them, should be good.